So today's video is about finding art inspiration from everyday things. Sometimes you lose motivation, sometimes you lose interest to be creative, and that's perfectly normal. That's what happened to me. So I want to share some of the things that kind of sparked me to find my creative interest once again. So I'm a collage artist. I love to play with papers, particularly lots of vintage papers. I also do junk journaling and art journaling in general. And one of the things that caught my attention when I was with some friends a couple of weeks ago was this little box of coffee. Now, Lori, if you're seeing this, you'll probably remember where this came from. So this is just a box with a couple of these packets of instant coffee, and I absolutely love this little box. It reminded me that it's perfectly fine to use something like food packaging as the beginning of an art journal. And I know that I've done these in the past. I want to show you again. Here's one that I did using this watercolor, set of watercolors, and it came in a box. And then I cut the box down and made a little journal from it. This has got ATCs from a masterboard, right? So that's what the whole thing is with this journal. Other ideas for this is, since we just had Halloween, people have all kinds of candies and candy boxes, right? All you do is you open them up, cut off the edges, all the flaps, and then it turns into kind of a book. And from there, you just add in your signatures. This book, or this width, I just used one signature, and a signature is just a group of pages, a group of papers like this. This little book has two signatures. Let me see, is it the same width? No, this one is slightly bigger, right? So this one has a single signature, and I think this could be enough. If you're going to fill it up or do collage or whatever on here, it will get quite bulky, so one single signature is enough. I just used a stapler. That's it. Look, here you can see it right down the middle. Two staples, top and bottom, and they hardly show on the spine. And that's how that went in. Now I did the same thing with this one. I also used a stapler, and I just covered up the spine, the staples, with some additional paper on there so you don't see it, right? But you could also do things like Jello boxes. This would be such a cute size for a book. And it's up to you if you want to cover the entire thing. I like the idea of having, the original packaging that you can see. This, for the watercolor book, I added just a few tiny little elements just to kind of add to the overall composition of what was already there. But for this, for example, I love these colors, the green and the red and the yellow. So what I would do is maybe I'll look for a focal point that I could possibly do over here, but I would mainly leave this intact, right? Same thing with this. I like the packaging, right? It kind of serves the purpose of having this very recognizable cover. So I will keep it just like that. Is this too thin? Possibly. I could add additional pattern paper or something like that. Here I've got some nice kind of 6x6 paper I could cut out and put down. Probably not for this book, but this would be a really nice combination on the inside. So I've got some options with that. So hopefully this serves kind of as a reminder that you can take things like candy boxes and coffee or whatever and make small journals with them. And one more thing, these are actually nice gifts for children. If you give a child something like this and ask them, encourage them to write in it, to draw in it, to make it their own. They like things like that, little things that they can work in. So it's a nice idea for young children. Okay, next is this album right here. I have a little story for you. I went with my daughter to a secondhand store. She loves to go to look for clothing. She's 16, and I love that she loves to go to secondhand stores because she's just experimenting with style and clothes and color and fabrics and all that. And if she was in a mall spending money on clothes, that would be a problem. But if she wants to go to a secondhand store and buy a blouse or a shirt or jeans or whatever, and they're like $8 a piece, fine, I'm happy to pay for it. She's going to play around with all different kinds of things, and it's not expensive. So while she's looking for clothes, I wander off to the home goods section. I go look at books. And this is what I found in the Savers for $1.99. I think I'm going to keep this tag on here just because it's crazy what I found. So this is a album. It says album, but it's a blank book. And inside this book, it's kind of a notebook kept by Miranda Stewart of Locust Vale, Virginia, and she used it as an autograph book where she had her relatives, her cousins, and her neighbors where she lived write little poems and sentiments and things like that. Later on, she had her kids, her children, sign them or write little notes as well. So it starts in 1860 and it goes to 1890 and is the last one, right? So there's a lot of blank pages in here, but there's also a lot of really nice poetry. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get this, I need to use it. Maybe I can use some of these poems or use pieces of this in some collage. So this was quite an extraordinary find. So I've been trying to think about what to do with this album. I don't want to tear it up. I think it's precious the way it is, and it would be nice to somehow return it to family, but it always makes me wonder how something like this would end up in a secondhand store anyway. Obviously, people didn't want it, or whichever family had it, they no longer wanted it, and so they gave it away, right? So I'm also thinking about the possibility of sending this to a Virginia Historical Society, perhaps, if anybody knows of any, particularly Culpeper County. That might be the closest. I looked up Locust Vale and there is no Locust Vale, Virginia, so I'm assuming that would have been the name of the home or the homestead where they lived. But if anybody has any other suggestions or ideas of what to do with this book so that I don't discard it, or that I don't tear it up and use it for collage. I have another idea for us. I was thinking of doing a YouTube live where I do a project with this. So I will scan a couple of these pages and I can probably make them available to you as a PDF download, free download. And maybe we want to do some kind of collage or something with this. There's a lot of beautiful handwriting in here. Might be fun to take some copies and play with them in making a collage. So let me know if you think that's a good idea of doing a YouTube live, something like an hour long where we can get together and all work on the same project. I think that would be fun. So let me know. Okay. More inspiration, another project to work on. This past month I have been working on creating a postcard for the San Jose Stamp Club, who are going to have their kind of like a stamp show coming up in November. So I created this postcard for them, and I got to talk with the president a little bit, and he made available some things for me, all in this bag. I've gone through some of these things already, but I wanted to show you some of the more interesting bits. So I get things like this from my local stamp club. These stamps are old and they would be valuable if they were intact, but these are torn. They have, sections that are completely missing. So these are not of interest to traditional collectors. But as I mentioned, the president knows that I like these types of papers for collage, and so he happily sets them aside for me. So in here is a bunch of random sets of papers. This needs to be soaked off. I have to put it in water, and then this whole Mars Pathfinder stamp should come right off. This I could possibly use in my Mars passport. These are kind of gross. I don't think I'm going to take those out right now. These cards, these are, I don't even know what these are called. It's where you are able to put in stamps. So I guess they're kind of a holder, card holders, right? What if I take a bunch of these and turn them into a book? What if I bind them along the edge, either hole punch or ring punch, and then have them like a little book? I thought that might be a cool idea to play with. So I'm going to think about that. There's a nice big envelope, which could be used for something. Who knows what? More envelopes in here. There's also some really cool kind of vintage documents. These are from Finland, I believe, 1947. Just cool handwriting things. For sure I can use these in collages. Bank check, little tiny envelopes. Very cool, right? Here's another one of those envelopes that have very neat design patterns on the inside. Okay, so there's that. A sheet of these Japanese stamps from 1973. So I have this ledger book that I use to put stamps in when I have a whole bunch of something. It's kind of just, it's basically a sticker book. So that is what I think I'm going to use some of these stamps for. It's just looking at pattern and design of having a whole lot of stamps, right? Here I did a little bit of rubber stamping, but I think mainly it's the idea of having the same stamp repeating again and again. So I have a lot of space in this little notebook. So what I will probably do is go to a blank page and do something like this. I have to figure it out what I want to do, either a huge block or to break them up and put them on 2 pages. So I am going to think about that. There's a load of these Senegal stamps. Again, these are kind of repeating, loads of repeating patterns and colors and things. So I will definitely use them in this ledger. Pretty combinations of things, little animals. Finland, wow, those are stunning. These are going to be fun to do a collage in. So that was another idea that I had. What if I do a YouTube live event where I pick a project from postage stamps and work on it? There's so many projects that I could do. I could work on a Rolodex card or a bunch of them. I could work in this little album where I have all kinds of postage stamps and do different kinds of collages in them, right? I've got this little post book where I started to do some grid journaling inside. So maybe I could do some more grid journaling here. So what do you think about that idea? Should I do some kind of live event as well and then just invite you to come and collage along with me working with postage stamps? Let me know in the comments if you think that would be a good idea. Now, I've got one more story for you. I mentioned that I was in the secondhand store in Savers with my daughter she was looking for clothes, and I was just hanging out looking for other things. I was looking through clothing, through sweaters in particular, because I have one cardigan sweater, pink cardigan sweater that I absolutely love and that I wear all the time. It's a little bit too small for me. The sleeves come up a little bit high. It doesn't quite fit me very well, but I bought it secondhand in Amsterdam and I love that sweater. It's so warm, it's so comfortable, and I don't care if it's too small. I'm gonna wear it anyway. So I always take a look at sweaters when I'm in a secondhand store to see if I can, by chance, by miracle, find another cashmere sweater. So I was in Savers with my daughter looking there, and I found something. I found a gray cashmere sweater, 100% cashmere. It was $9, $10, and I was like, who would give, whatever, right? But anyway, it has a couple of holes in it, and that's probably why somebody got rid of it, right? A couple of holes like this, and I was like, ooh, what could I do with this? What could I do? I wonder if there's a way to repair it. So I came home, got on YouTube, found a great video from a woman who shows how to fix these holes. She showed how she uses silk thread. She said silk thread is the best for fixing cashmere, and just kind of go around the hole and then slowly tie it together, right? Anyway, I watched the YouTube video. I was like, okay, I think I can do this. So I ordered some silk thread online, and while I was waiting for it to come, in the morning I took my kids to school. I came home and this is what I found. What happened? My dog happened. I didn't just leave this on the floor. It was up on a counter, and I don't know, maybe because it came from a store, it hadn't been washed yet, it didn't smell like us. The dog reached for it, got it, and then chewed it up while I was gone from the house. I came home, I saw this, I burst into tears. I'm not a crier, I'm not somebody who cries easily, but this just killed me because I was all set to repair these tiny little holes, and now I've got this. So, what to do? Throw it out? That would be the first obvious choice. There's nothing. How can this be repaired, right? But I'm like, no, I want this sweater. Darn it. I want this sweater. It's such a nice, comfortable, beautiful sweater in a color that I like. Do you know how hard that is? How hard it is to find those combinations of things? So what I did was I went on eBay and I found a used cashmere scarf for $10, which I ordered. And now I'm going to cut a piece out of this and I'm going to attach it, mend it to this. How? I don't know. I am not a seamstress. I've never done it, but I am determined. I am determined to put this together and to make it work. And I don't care if it's ugly. I'm probably not going to leave the house with it anyway. I just want to wear it because it feels so good and because I like it. So that is my challenge. If someday I'm wearing it in a video and you see a patch of gray that is a little bit darker than the patch or than the sweater itself, then you will know that somehow I have figured this out. But it is something that I'm going to do. I'm determined, as I said, to make this work. So we'll see how it goes. We have a new dog. It's our third dog. We didn't plan to have a third dog, but it kind of came to be. What happened was that around the 4th of July, I'm on this email list for our local shelter. They get a lot of new dogs in during 4th of July because of the fireworks. Dogs get scared, they run out into the street, they get picked up, brought to the shelter, and then there's no room for them because there's other dogs that are already in those kennels. So they were looking for temporary fosters to take a dog, a large dog, particularly a large dog. So I talked to my daughter about it. Hey, do you think we could do this? She said, sure, let's do it. Let's see if we can help a dog and then help rehabilitate it and have it adopted out to someone else. So we got Molly, who is a German Shepherd. So when we got her, she was absolutely scared of everything. She just hid underneath chairs, super quiet. We wouldn't hear a peep out of her. We have two other dogs. We have a big Rhodesian Ridgeback, it's about 90 pounds, and then we have a small Manchester Terrier that's 20 pounds. So they taught Molly how to be a dog. She watched them. She is very comfortable around other dogs and liked to be in their company very much. So we did the test, and can you guess? Can you guess what kind of dog she is? She's a German Shepherd for sure, but she doesn't have the pointy ears that stand up like a German Shepherd would. So she definitely was a mix of something. When the results came back, the mix was 60% German Shepherd and 40% Australian Shepherd. And it was Molly who did this, by the way, so we definitely have to make sure that she doesn't get herself into trouble. So let me know if you would be interested in the YouTube live event, either with the album, this album here, or with the postage stamps. What would be more interesting, one or both? Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you the next time.